the first thing I see is the developmental growth. They move on. There's 8 stages. Ericksonian's 8 stages of man. I believe them. I follow them. I track them. A lot of other people have came after Erickson and have their own stages, but he's pretty clear about what their stages are. And there's Margaret Mahler in England. She did the separation individuation stages for infants and children. There's a lot of work around developmental stages. We're supposed to be able to take a look at Maslow. We start out in survival mode. And if all goes well, we transition up to that little tiny point in Maslow where it's life purpose and spirituality. That's innate in us. Jung would call it the epigenetic principle, which is a botanical term that means we're innately programmed to grow to our fullest potential. But life gets in the way. It sends us a lot of hardballs, and if a lot of people never get out of survival mode. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. But for those who do, who are able to work their way up psychologically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, there's all these scales. One day, years ago, I sat and I lined them all up, and they were pretty much compatible with each other. And I thought that was pretty good because, all roads do lead to one ultimate thing, and that's, living your life to your fullest. So Piaget is another one, the learning one. So there's all these masters from the past that have, put together. So I look for developmental shifts. I work with a woman. I have to call my mom 3 times a day. She said, and it turned out she was worried about her mother. So she wasn't checking in about herself. She was waiting to make sure her mother was sober. So these are the things that, you have to help people, step out of their toxic patterns from childhood, step out of their old belief systems. We run probably 50, 70% on our old belief systems. They run a lot of our show. And that's a tragedy too, because they worked at one point in our life, they served a purpose, but the purpose is over. You made it. I want to say to people, hey, you've made it, you're here. You're going to be fine, because a lot of it is trauma.